Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that the video finds you well. They are your enemies. They are not your friends. They do not have the best intentions for you. Donald Trump has said this many, many times about the left, about the establishment, about the rhinos. See, he even told us many times, they are not coming after me. They're coming after you. I'm just in the way. Well, we got to witness that when they raided Mar-a-Lago, when they indicted Donald Trump, trying to take him off the ballot, when they indicted his friends, his supporters, what the way they treated the January 6th political prisoners, and they will always blame shift on everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, well, what Pam Bondi has promised to do is to make sure that our government never does what they did in the last 10 years, that the last 10 decades is going to be remembered in our history books as a mistake when the Democrats, by accident, and what do I mean by accident? By accident that they rigged elections, had power. And that's the only reason they did what they did, from Russiagate to even right now. Our government is shut down because the Democrats don't care about you, the American citizen. They care about illegal criminals. They want to spend money on illegal criminals and ignore our veterans. So by a mistake, which is rigged elections, they want to make sure that never happens again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they don't want you to hear the truth. They don't want you to see the truth. They don't want you to know what is truly going on and what is truly happening. But this is why I continue to say, pray for truth, speak truth to power, and we will win and overcome. Do me a huge favor, smash that thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from today? We're diving right into it. First things first. What did I mean when I said CNN and all of them don't want you to hear the truth? Well, here's example number one. CNN cuts off Speaker Johnson as he attacks Democrats for shutting down the government over healthcare funding for illegal criminals. Here it is.
The Working Families Tax Cut included a huge provision. A big chunk of that bill was the health provisions. Now, why are we saying that they want to restore taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens? Because that's exactly what they did. When they rejected the clean CR that we sent over, the Senate Democrats.
All right, we're listening here to Speaker Johnson. He's trying to frame the shutdown as a Democratic shutdown. He also falsely claimed that Democrats want to give extend health care to illegal immigrants. That is not true.
It is not the job of CNN to tell you what Speaker Mike Johnson is saying. It is their job to roll the whole clip, and you're supposed to make your decision. They say it is not true. But ladies and gentlemen, during the Democratic run for president in 2020, when a dozen Democratic candidates stood on stage and they were asked, are you going to give health insurance to undocumented immigrants? Each and every single one of them raised their hand. Yes. Technically, if you look at the books without looking at context, illegal immigrants are not supposed to get or have Medicaid or medical insurance. But there are loopholes. For one, if an illegal immigrant, even one that is wanted by ICE, goes to the ER or urgent care, they will be taken care of on the taxpayer dime. Then, many states, like Washington State, Oregon, California, New York, New Mexico, and many, many others, including Minnesota and Illinois, have loopholes where illegal immigrants are getting health benefits. But CNN does not want you to know that. They don't want you educated. Do you know why the only reason we even have a shutdown is because the Democrats want to spend $1.5 trillion in the next 2 fiscal years on illegal immigrants? Trump said no. Now, we're going to move on. Really quickly, you got to know this. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say pray for President Trump's safety, this is what I mean. Shock. Armed New York PD detective snuck past Secret Service into Ryder Cup while pretending to be part of President Trump's security detail. This was yesterday. An armed New York police PD detective snuck past Secret Service into the Ryder Cup while pretending to be part of President Trump's security detail. Detective Melvin Ng was in full tactical gear as he entered the Ryder Cup, according to the New York Post. Detective Ng also told people he was working for the feds. A New York Police Department detective allegedly showed up at the Ryder Cup golf tournament in full gear and claimed he was working security for President Trump while out on sick leave, the Post has learned. Detective Melvin Ng, who is now facing administrative charges for theft of services, may have even gotten away with the golf course ruse. Had he not dropped his gun magazine in the grass in front of real security personnel. So this New York cop, this New York detective, shows up where Trump is, dressed in tactical gear with a loaded pistol, says, "Hey, I'm here with Trump. Let me in." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sure." The security around Trump, I'm sorry, it's weak. He needs angels of the Lord protecting him. I mean, Butler, when he was golfing. Now this, keep him in your prayers. So this is the big story I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. Coming from Just the News. Attorney General Pam Bondi has vowed that the Justice Department's indictment of the fired FBI Director James Comey is the first salvo in the Trump administration's battle to, quote, end the politicization of the DOJ and the intelligence community. Following months of declassifications and criminal referrals related to the targeting of Donald Trump by the Biden-era DOJ, that legal warfare centered on false claims of Russian collusion serving as the pretext. The FBI opened a grand conspiracy earlier this year, Just the News reported, with the inquiry allegedly focused on a decade of Democratic Party and deep state antics from the Trump-Russia collusion hoax to former DOJ lawyer Jack Smith, who was accused by the Senate committee in February of having withheld documents he was required to hand over to Trump's then defense attorneys. This opens the door for a sweeping inquiry into whether the well-documented episodes amount to a criminal conspiracy to meddling in 3 United States elections to the benefit of the Democrats and to the deterrent of President Donald Trump. Quote, Donald Trump is in office and the weaponization has ended. We've made that very clear. Whether you're a former FBI director, whether you're a former head of the intel community, whether you're a current state or local elected official, whether you're a billionaire-funded organizations to try to keep Donald Trump out of office, everything is on the table, Bondi told Fox News on Friday. She goes on to say, we will investigate you and we will end the weaponization. No longer will there be a 2-tier system of justice. And we are working hand in hand, Director Patel and I and Todd Blanche, with our incredible intel community, Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, going nonstop around the clock. People will be held accountable. Now, ladies and gentlemen, lies travel fast, but truth takes time. You know why? Because it is easy to lie. It is very easy to lie. It is easy to make up a story. It is easy to run with a fake conspiracy theory. Lies spread like wildfire. But truth takes time. What does a liar do? He runs and just lies to everybody. Truth doesn't want to just throw it at you. It wants to convince you factually with evidence. Now, this is why the lies of the left have traveled far and wide, but they don't really have a strong foundation. Why is it that the Democrat Party or the leftist violent Satanists always want to shut up people like me and people like you? who speak the truth, right? Do I always get everything correctly or 100% right? No. But when I make mistakes, I acknowledge that I made a mistake, and I always come back and I apologize and then I correct myself. But liars want us to shut up, because when a factual, truthful argument comes and starts debating or speaking against or opposite of that lie is broken. Sooner or later, it cracks, it breaks, and it fails. Trump has been warning us since 2016 that the system is rigged. The system is rigged. When he was standing there back in 2016 on that debate stage against Hillary Clinton, for the first time ever, a presidential candidate stood there and said, "This is rigged." And people said, "Well, Mr. Donald Trump, how do you know that the system is rigged?" Well, because Trump answered very smart. Trump said, "The system is rigged because I am a part of the system. I'm a billionaire in this system. I know these politicians. I know these senators. I know the Clintons. It is rigged. That is why I'm running, because I want to change it." Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep this live short, a little shorter than usual, a few more minutes. And hear me when I say this, hear the cry of my heart. I genuinely mean this. This is coming from my heart. This is what I worry about. This is what I think about. If before the end of Trump's second term, if the swamp is not drained, and if people are not in prison, was it all for nothing? If we don't see the Obamas and the Clintons held accountable, there's a big chance that this was all for nothing. If the Soros and the Act Blue is not destroyed, and if election integrity is not returned to this country, and if election machines are not gone, and if ballot harvesting and mail-in ballots is not out of our country, ladies and gentlemen, why did Charlie Kirk die then, after working so hard for 4 years to get Trump reelected? I'm telling you, this is something I genuinely worry about. If the swamp, because I'll tell you right now, I don't trust JD Vance. I like JD Vance. He's probably our next president, but I don't think he's tough enough to get the job done. Trump has to do it. We have to pray for him so that God gives him the courage, the strength, the integrity. I like JD Vance, but I'm sorry, JD Vance changed his name 5 times. I read parts, not the whole thing, but parts of JD Vance's book. He says that the reason that he married an Indian woman was because he despises himself and his culture and where he came from so much that he wanted to marry as far away from himself as possible. He actually said that. He wanted to make sure that his wife is not from America, is not white, and is not Christian. JD Vance says that in his book. I like JD. He's doing great as VP. But I'm thinking way down the line. If you want to win, you got to think 30, 40, 50 years down the road. And I'm looking who comes after Trump. Marco Rubio. I like Marco Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know if you listened to Marco Rubio's message at Charlie Kirk's memorial. He preached the gospel of Jesus Christ, better than most pastors. But JD, his background is very spotty. His Palatine connections, his biggest Senate run donation in Senate history for a first-time running senator, the same guy that called Trump a Nazi, Hitler. Now, maybe he changed, and I believe he did in some ways. But things, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. When I read that chapter from Vance, that he said he married as far away from his culture and his skin color and his religion as far as possible because he can't stand where he's from, that hurts, and I know he's a Christian, he's a Catholic man and all that, but I hope, because we all have a past, and I pray, Lord, I pray that's his past and he's different today. But the swamp must be drained, and we have less than 3.5 years left. We've only seen in that now. I kind of understand what they're doing. They are building a RICO. I believe they are building a RICO case. Now, we'll see. Today I have something. This is, as you guys know, I now finish my lives with scripture in honor of Charlie Kirk, in honor of the Lord. Today is very simple, but it's amazing. It's John 1:1, very famous. If you're a Christian, you know exactly what I'm about to read. In the beginning was the Word. The Word has a big W, capital. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. What is darkness? What is darkness? And let's look at darkness like Antifa. Darkness in the streets, darkness in our politics, darkness. It is sin, it is corruption, it is perversion, it is all this stuff. What is darkness? Darkness is the absence of light. Turn off the light, darkness automatically is there. How do you get rid of darkness? By turning on the light, installing a light bulb, bringing a flashlight, a nightstand. Where am I going with this? Do you really want to see our country great again? Do you really want to see our country prosper again? Be great, amazing, magnificent. Be the light. Don't be scared to speak out against corruption. Don't be scared to run for office. Don't be scared to do community outreach. Don't be scared to be the person. You know what? There are people watching me right now. You've been thinking of running for Congress. You've been thinking of running for Senate. You've been thinking of running for a local seat. Do it. This is your sign. Do it. And you might say, well, why me? If not you, then who else? I'm looking at you. Pretend, we're here together, right? This is a private conversation. It's not like thousands of people are going to see it. It's just you and I. If you don't do it, no one else will. If you don't run and win, no one else will. If you don't be the change in your city, in your town, in your community, in your school, in your church, in your neighborhood, nobody else will. If you won't be the light that your city needs, no one else will. And if you won't be the light, then darkness is going to overtake it even more. This is what we're seeing in our government. It's been unchecked. The church ignored politics. The church ignored running for Congress, running for Senate, filling jobs in Washington, D.C. Because light didn't fill those areas, darkness did. Our country was founded on principles of godly and Christian light. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I wanted to keep today's real quick, real short, real simple. Really quickly, let's see if there's anything breaking. Nope. Nothing. No breaking news. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for today's live. God bless you. Have a great day. Subscribe. Share this with a couple friends. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.